Are you ready to hear a spooky story? Just kidding. Okay. Hi, everybody. We are just now finishing up our scary story series for Halloween. And these are stories that are actually in the Bible. Now, I don't know if you have read the Bible, but the Bible be crazy. Like, okay, I'm here in Korea and the K-dramas are awesome. Like, people be slapping everybody, everyone be stabbing, getting, murdered and everything like that. People be falling in love and everything. That is how the Bible is like, actually. The Bible has so many crazy and exciting stories. And the stories that we have been talking about really are in the Bible. Okay. This one is kind of spooky. I remember it even scared me when I was a kid, when I first heard this as a child. So I'm excited that I get to talk about this one. Okay, let's hop in. The very first thing, this story happens after King Nebuchadnezzar has passed away and died, and now his new son is on the throne. Now, you guys, please, go ahead. We're going to say this right now. Forgive me for the names, the biblical names here. They're not that easy, okay? So his son now is Belshazzar. I think I did it. Belshazzar, okay? He is now on the throne. And at this particular time, they are having a party. I don't know what just happened, but they had a good time. Good things are happening. And they are having a party in their house. And they're just like, living it up. Living it up so much, Belshazzar comes up with a great idea. He says, oh, okay, I know that we have these two awesome golden chalices that we don't really use that much. Why don't we use them and drink it up? I mean, what way to kick off a party than drinking stuff out of a golden cup? Like, I understand that hypes up the party. I get you, Belshazzar. Like, I get the idea. But here's the thing. He did not get these cups from anywhere. Like, he didn't get them from Walmart. He didn't get them from down the street or his cousin Bebe. He got them from the temple of God. Yeah, the living and breathing God. Now, again, you guys need to go back and read the Bible. But our God is pretty awesome. And especially in the Old Testament, still the same God. But he honestly was just, like, anytime there was disrespect, he was like he just didn't have it, right? So in this case, here, Belshazzar was like, let's hype up the party with these golden chalices that come from the temple of God. Yeah, the great I am. And so they're drinking, everybody's drinking out of them. Let me tell you, they're passing the cups around. That's what we call a mono train, which I would not want to get on. But yeah, they're passing the cups around like, woo! And out of nowhere, the lights go out and this hand starts writing on the wall. Okay. Now, this isn't like his servant's hand who's like, I didn't get a drink from the chalices. He's like writing on the wall. No, this is a random hand that is attached to no body. Yes, is writing on the wall. And this is what it says. Again, I might not be saying it right, but it says, Mine, tekel, parsin. I'm gonna say it again. Mine, tekel, parsin. Now everybody is shaking in their boots. If they were wearing boots, they are freaking out. Here they're having a good time, and this creepy hand is slowly writing these words on the wall, and nobody knows what these words mean. So, Belshazzar, he's freaking out. He's like, find me someone who can tell me what these words mean. He's looking high and low for everyone, and nobody can tell him what these words mean. But his mom says, oh, worry not. I remember that there was this man who seems to be filled with the spirit of the gods. Now, that sounds very fancy, but who she was talking about was Daniel. Daniel was known at this time, and if you don't know who Daniel is, please go read the chapter of Daniel. This is actually where the story is coming from. There's some awesome stories in Daniel. There's actually even more like, God did that stories in Daniel. And they're really awesome. But Daniel gained this reputation of a God who had the spirit of the gods, that he could interpret dreams and that he could that he had a very sharp mind. So his mom tells the son about Daniel. Now, Belshazzar says, Daniel, if you can tell me what this is, I will give you a golden necklace and a fancy robe. And Daniel says, you can keep it. This boy is super dope. Like, Daniel's dope, y'all. Please go back and read it. He said, you can keep that. I don't need it. Let me just tell you what's going on. He said, remember your dad, the king, Nebuchadnezzar? Well, he lost his sanity and was walking around like an animal. God did this to humble him, right? Because before this, your dad was a great, mighty king. So great that he thought he was king above everything. The Lord humbled him out of his mercy and grace and made him no greater than an animal for some time. Now, you saw your father do this. You saw your dad go through this, and you learned nothing. You also see yourself as the greatest king ever, that you are the best. Here, at the party, I didn't say this, but they were worshiping the gods of silver, gold, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. They were just like, God of gold, God of the wood, God of the stone. Like, they were having a good time worshiping these gods. So Daniel says, you're worshiping these gods that cannot see or hear. And you neglect, let me read this quote because he says it, but you do not honor the God who holds in his hand your life and all of your ways. Now that's just dope right there. He's like, you are worshiping these things that cannot see or cannot hear, while you are not even acknowledging the God who holds your life in your hands. He said, because of this is what the words mean. Mene means God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. 2, Tekel, you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. That means, honey boo boo, you aren't enough. And Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Now, Belshazzar, he really could have at that moment probably said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me, forgive me. No, this is what he does. He says, robe, Daniel. Give him a robe. Give him a necklace. They do that for him. Thank you for your words. But he doesn't change who he is or his thoughts or what he's doing. And possibly, it could have been too late, because that night, Belshazzar was murdered. That exact night, he was murdered. And his kingdom was given to the Medes. Now, it is kind of a spooky story. I was always spooked out by the creepy hand, right? But when I was going back and reading this, I was thinking, why did God use a hand? Why did he use a hand of all things? He could have just been lightning, and then he would have written the words. But I think God was trying to do something for Belshazzar, right? We hear it later with Daniel. He says, you are worshiping a God that cannot see or hear. But there is a true God that not only can hear and see, but also holds your life in his hand. Right? We see that, the connection, the humanity we see even with the writing of the hand, right? God here is showing, he said, I am a living God, right? That created you. I am not a God that needs to be summoned. I am not a God that is stagnant or staying still. I am a moving, breathing, living God who holds life in his hand. Now, another thing that I found, I'm going to go back to the point because that's huge. I ain't going to just put that underneath a carpet. But one thing that stood out to me was the fact that Daniel brought up his dad, Nebuchadnezzar. Please go back and read that story. It's bizarre. I love it. But God had given that situation to Nebuchadnezzar for Belshazzar, right? For Nebuchadnezzar too, for the kingdom. But look here, he gave that situation for Belshazzar to learn from it. Now, I know this might be a strange thought, but some of you might be watching and you might have a bad relationship with your parent or with your dad or with someone that is older than you that has had a good influence in your life. And you can see them and you can say, they went through this, that, and the other, and I hate them, or I'm going to be better than them. But sometimes what you need to do is take a step back and maybe look at what decisions they made, what choices, the things that they went through, and see what God is trying to prevent you from going through yourself. Instead of being angry at your parents, you can learn from them. Now, I know that seems like an obscure connection, right? But what if God allowed, in his grace, I know he gives that funky, weird grace, your parents to go through something so that you would not, right? So I really would like you guys to take a second to think about that. What is something that your parents did that maybe you loathe them for, you might detest them for it might make you burn up and be so angry inside? You don't understand. Can you imagine Belshazzar as a kid, thinking back to his dad acting like an animal? That might have been embarrassing for him, belittling. There might be some things that your parents might have gone through that actually is supposed to be a freedom for you. Now back to God being a good God and being a living, breathing God. He is a mighty God, more closer to us than our breath, closer to us than our physical gold. This ain't gold, y'all. This is like copper wrapped in gold paint. But you know what I mean? Like, he's closer to us than a boyfriend would, a husband would be, a friend would. He's a real God, and he is constantly after us. He is constantly pursuing us, not the after us like a creepy hand on the wall, like, no, but constantly after us and longing to be in partnership with us, in connection with us. And he will do anything. And he has done so many things to pursue us. May we not praise the silver and gold and iron and wood and stone, the friendships, the money, the sex. Yeah, I'm going to throw it out there. The beauty products, right? Maybe not worship those things, but may we come to the living, breathing God who holds our life in our hand and all of our ways. Please be blessed, everyone. If you want to go back and look at these stories, I know I can dive in more, but we are limited on time. Please go back and look at Daniel 5 and 21. Actually, go back and read all of Daniel. Read it with the group. If you're new to the faith, Daniel's confusing. I'm going to be honest. Probably not the best place to start, but it is so intriguing and just full of God's wonder. Okay. Bye, Royals.